Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
The Cardinals won a football game on Sunday where Kyler Murray wasn't the best player on the field, and that is a rarity. On a soggy day in Pittsburgh, those honors belong to James Conner and Trey McBride, who allowed Murray to be more quarterback than playmaker to put forth a Brock Purdy kind of effort, and it worked. McBride and Conner are both nods to the former general manager, otherwise known as the guy who drove this team into a ditch. McBride is elevating as a legitimate NFL star, and Conner might go down as one of the best free agent signings in team history. But nothing matters more to the Cardinals than the performance and the evaluation of Murray, and Sunday's performance went a long way in restoring hope and trust. Murray was rock solid in my opinion. His body language and command of the game were extremely impressive, especially given 2 lengthy weather delays and a crew of wide receivers who do not get much separation. Murray has now had 2 good games, 1 bad game, and 1 meh performance. Now he gets a bye week that once seemed cruel to the Cardinals because it's coming so late in the season, but a bye week that now seems fortuitous for their long-term purposes because quarterbacks in new systems can accomplish a lot during the bye week, and this one sets Murray up for a 4-game finish where he can remove all doubt whether he is or is not Arizona's franchise quarterback, and for what it's worth, I'm feeling a lot more optimistic than I was a week ago. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW. Make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
Yeah, super proud of the guys. The external factors of having to deal with something like that. I forgot who I was talking to with 5 years in the league, never having to, really playing football in general, never having to do something like this. But I'm super proud of the guys, the way, the mentality coming back in. They were all geeked up, all ready to go. There was no expectation other than coming out here with a win. So to do that, in the hostile environment that this is, great team, is a huge win.
That's Kyler Murray after the win yesterday, and yes, it was different on the list of Kyler Murray NFL victories as a quarterback. It was very different because this game, the way it shaped up, the conditions of the game, the weather, the delays, the opponent, their style of defense, it kind of forced Kyler Murray into being a little bit more than a game manager.
Yeah.
And he did that.
Yes.
I mean, normally when we're talking about Cardinals wins with Kyler Murray at quarterback, regardless of what year you're talking about, you're usually discussing a Kyler Murray dominant performance where he had 2 touchdowns on the ground or he made spectacular plays. That wasn't the case yesterday. Other really than the 99-yard drive where he was 4 for 4 on third down passes. They convert 5 first downs on that drive, which really swung the game and allowed the Cardinals to get into game management mode with Kyler Murray. So,
yeah,
you might look at the numbers and say, and they weren't outstanding by any stretch. He didn't get a ton of help from his receivers on a couple of plays that really could have made it look worse. But that, to me, is encouraging.
Exactly.
Kyler Murray can play that role.
Exactly. That the Cardinal offense can control a game, win a game without him being the star, without him having all sorts of great rushing plays. Now, I think the final total was 9 carries for him, so he didn't get to that 10 threshold.
But 3 of those are taking knees as well.
That's right, and 3 were taking knees. So there wasn't a lot of running involved, and so that was sort of and that's another thing I liked about this game. Yesterday's game sort of put a spike in the narrative, at least temporarily, that he has to run for the Cardinals to win. And if there can be more of that, that's a very promising sign. Now, I know even after a game like yesterday, Kyler still has his haters. People who don't want to feel good about yesterday's win because it makes Kyler Murray look good. I find that to be sad.
Well, and on the flip side of it, and saying what I said after I was very critical of Kyler Murray last week.
So was I.
I was not complimentary of him in Houston. I thought that he had chances to win that game, and he failed to deliver. So for me to say, hey, it's encouraging to see what we saw yesterday, and people might listen to that and go, oh, you were all over the place, Murata. Yeah, I am all over the place.
Yes, we are. And
because I'm not going to lock in my opinion based on something that happened last year.
Nor should you.
This is an evaluation period. If Kyler Murray plays well, I'm going to say he played well. There's no personal vendetta here.
No.
If he doesn't play well, I'm going to say he didn't play well.
If stories change, shouldn't your opinion as well? I don't know why people have a hard time grasping that.
Well, that's why you mentioned the haters being firmly entrenched in that camp. The only thing really those people could criticize yesterday about Kyler Murray was his pre- and post-game outfit. What was that?
I loved it.
I liked it too.
It reminded me of delicious sherbet.
He looked like cotton candy.
He doesn't mind putting it out there.
No.
You know what I mean? Because he gets raked over the coals for his fashion sense.
Yeah, by people wearing triple XL polos with basketball shorts. Who cares?
Why are you gonna go after Adam Sandler?
Well done, Sarah. That is a great line. Yes. Yeah. And basketball shorts.
I saw somebody like an Eagles fan going into the game against the 49ers, and it was a pregame arrival of Brock Purdy, who was wearing a very, very normal dude outfit. And it's like, no way we're losing to this blank and geek.
Yeah.
So if you don't dress outrageous, a la Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy, you get raked over the coals.
Yeah.
If you dress outrageous like Kyler Murray, you get raked over the coals. You can't have it both ways.
Now, the funniest thing is that they clearly only bring the one outfit to arrive in, and they have to wear that in the post game. And when you lose, we call this the Cam Newton factor.
It's a slippery slope.
Yes.
And you have to wear your ridiculous hat and jacket and talk about getting blown out.
That's a really good
pretty
point.
silly.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, Cam Newton looked ridiculous even in wins.
Well, yeah. Well, listen.
But it's just
The
funny.
few ones he got, that's true.
That's why in those situations you go in still in your uniform.
Oh,
you jump
veteran
the
maneuver.
you jump the line. You say, "I'll go right now." Generally, I'll go right now. Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if Kyler had they lost that game. If Kyler would have gone in uniform or just Arizona property of Arizona Cardinals T-shirt or something.
Well,
it's interesting because there is value in playing football the way Kyler Murray did yesterday. And when Kyler Murray was really, really good his first couple of years, there were many stretches of games where he would go without committing a turnover. And that was another key moment and element of yesterday's game. And it's listen, I want to give a nod of the cap, tip of the cap, whatever, also to Jonathan Gannon, because there was one visual, and I referenced this in my column, so I'm sure this won't be new to you, but there was a moment at the end of the first half when Trey McBride's touchdown pass got overruled. And I know that viscerally I'm like, come on, really? And Jonathan Gannon, instead of complaining or throwing a fit, he immediately started clapping and telling us, let's go. Let's just do it again. And I'm like, that is Studley right there. That is a guy who's focusing on the right thing. And he instead of just blowing a gasket that, these refs, we just got rooked on the road. These refs stole a touchdown from us. He wasn't having it. He said, all right, let's go. Let's move on. And I'm like, I respect that. And his team responded. And for the fact that team came out and played with the spirit that they played yesterday, that comes from somewhere. It's a reflection that they've got a good percentage of hardcore dudes in there who love to get in and scrap, who got off on the idea of, hey, we're in Pittsburgh and they're going nuts here. Let's go give them a taste of their own medicine. That was one of the more enjoyable Sundays on a couch I've had in a while, Vinny.
Yeah, even if it was 4 hours and 18 minutes.